I now bring you our final speaker. Rosemary Campbell-Stephens was an inspirational head teacher. Here at this institution, she helped to train a generation of black education leaders. She herself has been a leader in education, thought and practice, and she's been a good friend and a pillar of her community. Without further ado, I bring you Rosemary Campbell-Stephens.
God bless, God bless. And thank you so much, Diane, for that lovely introduction and such a warm response from the audience. It's a very emotional journey that I have been on with London schools and the black child. And I wonder whether people here would join with me in standing to their feet to recognize the contribution that Diane Abbott MP has made, because history will recognize it. Bless you. It's not easy. It's not easy operating as a conscious black person within the belly of the beast. You of us, you understand me? Yes. It's not easy. Do not take for granted what is required to create the kind of space that we have here in this place to even begin to talk about the interests of African people and African children. Please don't take it for granted. I have taken liberties with the brief that I was given. And I come to speak truth and to pay honor to the speakers that have gone before me. David, Heidi, and Keith. Usually I prepare my presentations way in advance. Today I decided to follow Spirit. And Spirit brought to me on the train as I came down from Birmingham clarity about my 8 concerns with regards to the landscape that we now have to navigate, and my 7 solutions. I have no PowerPoint, so you are going to have to listen and take notes. And as my grandmother said to me, pick sense out of nonsense. My first concern about the current landscape that we have to navigate as black people in this place is that the deconstruction of our education system and local government and other bodies leave nothing between schools and government. There is a very dangerous vacuum in a so-called democracy, with all the rhetoric about schools having autonomy about what they do and how they do it. What we have is a government-driven system. And for those of us who have any knowledge at all about our history, that places us in a very vulnerable space. My second concern is that initiatives that have propelled our children into higher levels of achievement, such as aiming high. When people talk about, London schools and the black child just being a conference that brings people together, they don't know what it starts behind the scenes. Aiming high would not have got government funding if it wasn't for Diane Abbott and London schools and the black child. Investing in diversity, which I ran in this place, a leadership program to get more of us as conscious educators leading in black schools, would not have had the £3.5 million that was put into investing in diversity over 7 years in this place if it wasn't for Diane Abbott and London Schools and the Black Child. We've got researchers sitting right here, we've got academics sitting right here. I'm looking at Dr. Marie Stewart, yeah, in this audience. Where is that collective knowledge now? I really am hoping that David's Centre that he has set up in Birmingham for race and education within Birmingham University, that one of the first things that it will do, never mind going out and doing new research, find the old research. Find the old research and find some of the old researchers and make them come and bring that knowledge to this new generation of educators. You do not have to start from scratch, people. There is a legacy here that has been laid down and you need to pick it up. My third concern in this so-called post-racial age is that we no longer have either the data or the language to talk about race.
That's right.
No longer have the data or the language to talk about race. There is no way that I could have run a program here at the Institute saying that we need more black educators in London schools if there wasn't some data to show that they were underrepresented in terms of leadership. Aiming High couldn't get off the ground if we didn't have some data to show that African Caribbean youngsters were being failed by the system. We need that data. But the deconstruction that has gone on has ensured that you cannot find that data anywhere. Okay, stay with me. Me old and menopause are play with me. You can barely see up here. Exclusions. David reminded us of the reality, as did Keith. But now we don't talk about exclusions. I go to lots of secondary head meetings where what we talk about is managed moves. Exclusion data, we don't exclude, but we have a whole heap of managed moves. And we also have a lot of alternative provision. That sounds really good. Alternative provision, that sounds good. We need an alternative to what? But what is the quality of this alternative provision? And who are the people who are disproportionately represented within this alternative provision? And who is behind the alternative provision? Oh my God. Let me move on from number 4. Number 5. The drive towards school units, because this is the kind of language that is now being used about schools. It's a business model. How many units have we got? You know, it's very interesting. My husband is a probation officer, and they talk about units a lot. They talk about prison units. Anyway, let me not go there. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. Watch out who's behind all of these academies, you know, because the school bus can very easily turn into the prison bus. Okay, anyway, let me move on from that. Let me move on. The drive towards school units as independent, competing and autonomous organizations run by private companies flies in the face of what we know as global people, and that is the global concept of interdependence, cooperation, and the village raising the child. Don't worry, I need to write a paper for those of you that didn't clap. I will write a paper to explain what we mean. In a time of austerity, in a time of shortage, whether we're talking about material, whether we're talking about knowledge, whether we're talking about the implosion of certain systems, that is not the time that you go for autonomy and independence and competitiveness. That is the time that you collaborate, that you partner, and old world systems understand that for sustainability. That's why we are here. Because trust me, our history says that we shouldn't be here. You know? Okay, the paper is coming because it's needed. Number 6, big concern for me. Race consciousness is not only low within the system, but it's low within us as black people. It's low within us as black people. We look at other races and we talk about what they're doing and how they're doing it, and we don't understand that a big part, a central part of their success and effectiveness is that they have high levels of race consciousness. Right. They know who they are. We're running away from one another. Can't work with one another. You know? We need to develop this. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Ain't true, I'm not sorry. My 7th point is that the barriers remain. And, you know, Keith is right, we do need to set up our own schools, but you know what, alongside, for those of us whose children are going to state schools and will remain within state schools, and for those of us now it's our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, there needs to be some homeschooling going alongside that takes place in the community. Yes, let them go set them English baccalaureate. But make the real education take place. It's called homeschooling, folks. We can do it collectively alongside to make sure that our young people are conscious, young, educated people who know how to navigate every space. They can walk into the House of Commons. They can walk through Institute of Education, University of London, 100 years of excellence. They can step from this place and go into the community and not feel afraid. And they can make the contribution that they need to make for the sustenance of the race, for God's sake. The barriers remain, even in this brave new world where everybody is being encouraged to set up schools, for us to set up schools. Please, 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 don't be seduced. 1 or 2 of us may get through. I was talking to the brother here about his school, yeah? We've managed to set up a studio school in Birmingham, K-Jans. You will hear more about it. Because one of the things that K-Jans wants to do is to open the door for all the rest of the black school who get turned on. You understand? But some of us get seduced because we're sat at the table. So we are okay. Now, what we have learned through the process is the hoops that we have had to jump through, who for name we can put on this and who for name we can't, how our associations are, and all, and then even when you get the go-ahead, the post is changed. You could have opened last term with 45 students, but now we actually need 75 students, even though the white school down the road can open with 20. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, yes, we need to exploit such opportunities as there are within the system for us to be self-determining and autonomous. After all, we are taxpayers in this place. And why should we continue to be shortchanged? Yes? But be aware that the barriers that are there for us are there for all of us. Okay. Is 2 more concerns we have. 8. This might be a little bit contentious. Eradicating us from the national curriculum, I expect that. Anybody surprised about that?
No.
I expect that. It's part and parcel of where we are in this society. Yes, it's part and parcel of it. But do not allow it to be a distraction, because hear me on this, and this is the contentious bit. I'm not really too concerned about them not mentioning Mary C. Code. Me hear you? No, me hear. Let me tell you why. I don't know why a Jamaican woman born in Kingston, picking up herself. No, serious. Picking up herself in the 1800s, when there was enough work to be doing in Kingston, paying her way, fighting to pay her way, to go and nurse white soldiers. Sorry, David. My brethren and my brother, and me respect him to the max. In the Crimean War, which was about what? European powers fighting over the Ottoman Empire. I'm sorry, Mary. And you know what? I have a feeling, and I may be wrong, and God forgive me if I am, that the likes of Mary C. Cole might be well turning in their grave to be seen as some black icon. But here is the bit of black history that I do not wish to be eradicated from the curriculum. When you're talking about the Industrial Revolution, tell the truth about where the finance come from. To build this place. That's why black educators, especially the youngsters that are coming forward and still have the strength or whatever, be sensible, man, about what you're fighting for.
Yeah.
Yes? Let the white liberals do whatever they need to do to solve conscience. It's good that they're part of it. Make them do what they need. But we need to be focused on what is important, folks. Okay. Number 9. That one wasn't so contentious as I think it was going to be. Number 9. With the move to have teacher education from NQT through to head teachers, moved out of the academic institutions to a handful of hand-picked schools. Because that's what teaching schools are supposed to be about, folks, for those of you who don't know. They are supposed to be now responsible, and this is part of the school-led system, to be training up the teachers that Heidi was talking about. And those of you who've been on the receiving end of having Teach First graduates in, I know so many black educators, experienced educators, going for their senior leadership position, cannot get a look in. Enter Teach First from stage left. Been teaching for 2 years, fantastic, yeah, highly educated graduates, and I'm sure that some of them bring some moral consciousness to what they are doing and want to make a difference. But actually, there is an agenda here. There is an agenda here about who teaches, yes, as well as what is taught. And we need to be careful. How many of us are coming through the Teach First route? How many of us are being fast-tracked to leadership positions? Let me move quickly to the solutions. London Schools and the Black Child can become a national, international agency for racial, social justice and equity in education. And humbly, I suggest that that is our next step.
Yeah.
Working alongside centres such as the one that David leads in Birmingham for race in education, and other progressive academic and community organisations, we can restore the collective memory of what has been done in the name of race and equity in this country in the last 50 years. It is really, really important that those of us who are activists going forward and the young people who are activists going forward are starting on a very firm and clear foundation of what has already been won.
That's right.
That's really, really important. And sadly, you're not going to find it in this place, you know. Bernard Coward wrote in this place, here in this institute, how the British educational system made the West Indian child educationally subnormal. And these are the kinds of things that need to be housed in David's Centre and made accessible to those progressive academics who are wanting to change the direction of travel. The ambition that Professor Gus John and Diane Abbott had for the London schools and the black child to be the catalyst for developing the movement and the network that Heidi talked about that brings together black educators, black parents, and black students needs to happen, because we are a disjointed lot. And you know, sometimes when I talk, it's true though, it's true. I talk to black teachers all the time, and I have to remind them, as Heidi asks, how many of you are parents? Because if you were talking with your parent head on, would you be supporting some of the things that are happening within education, or would you be remaining silent? You know, come on, we need to find spaces where we can come together as a community to share and strategize and plan. I'm going to leave number 4 till last, so come back to me because it fits that it is the last one, number 5. Success stories and alternative narratives should be shared to raise not only our aspiration, but to keep us motivated. How many of you got up here and got up this morning and feel tired? Tired. And you came because Diane called you, as I did. I came because it was Diane and she called me and I knew the importance of. And as I said to Heidi, if we didn't come, we soon gone. If we not speak, who are going to speak? But listen, the way to really fulfill our reservoirs of hope is for us to share those success stories. For us to find alliances where we haven't previously found alliances. And this is where I go back to what Keith says. Faith schools now, of all denominations, are struggling to redefine themselves in this landscape, because they find that the direction of travel in terms of education is devoid of any moral purpose. And so we, as black people, need to realign ourselves with all kinds of alliances in the redefining of what the purpose of education is. And we will find that we have some unusual people wanting to step up, as I'm going to give you when I come to solution 4. Number 6, in this autonomous environment, we should be using our collective intellect to redefine the purpose of education in this time. We heard from Windrush generation. My mother is of Windrush generation. She's 86 years old. She has been in this country for 60 years. 60 years. And when I told her where I was coming, she's a great fan of Diane. So one of the things that she said was, as she does, and I use her words exactly, kick ass when you go down there. Yes, my mother is growing old disgracefully. And the other thing that she said is, don't forget, because I'm in touch with Jamaica, very close to, because one of our legends, those of you who remember Elaine Foster, yes? Elaine Foster was the first black HMI in this country. This is the kind of history that we want David Center to recognize and talk about, yeah? She's now Under Secretary for Education in Jamaica. And Jamaica is going through a transformation agenda in terms of education. And the key purpose that they see in terms of Jamaican education, what is the purpose of education in Jamaica now, is to rebrand Jamaica and how Jamaicans are seen on the world stage. And a big part of that is developing nationhood. When I was up north the other day talking to some head teachers in Durham, and just using Jamaica, little Jamaica as an example, and using that example of what is the purpose of education. Head teachers in Durham, the same way that you just nod and say, when I said, shouldn't the purpose of education, at least in part, be about building a sense of nationhood, they were all nodding too. So you see, the kinds of journey that we are on, for different reasons, are the kinds of journeys that other people that we wouldn't normally see as allies are also seeking. Okay. Number 7, focus on what is important. Work in the collective interest. Acknowledge white hurt. Heidi is right. Although I did wince a little bit when she said that. Nothing hurt me more than white people looking hurt when me hurt. But, you know, I tried to be humble. Oh God. And understand them are people too. And I will acknowledge white hurt, but I will not be consumed by it. I may have one eye over their shoulder. And I watch for me back. While me acknowledge their hurt. Sorry, Heidi. Oh, Jesus help me. Okay. Let me go to the last point, which is a source of joy for me. I was called by Darlington Local Education Authority, which is all white local authority up in the north, very small local authority with about 42 schools. And they asked me to document their journey in terms of system leadership. And I'd done some work with the head teachers. They liked my style and they thought, well, they wanted me to do that. But I asked them, why did they ask me at this time to do that? And they said, look, we have the largest number of academies in the country. And we know that the government will be making hay and saying, Darlington, largest number of academies in the country, this is the only structural solution if you want. And we want our story written up in a different voice. Let me just give you one example of what they have done. As a group of schools, they have come together, they have used their independence to decide to work together interdependently. They have signed an agreement that says they will not compete against one another. That they will collectively use their funds in the interest of Darlington children. That they, irrespective of Ofsted, will hold each other to account when children are being moved from school to school in managed moves. The document is being printed as we speak, and Murray Rose said to me yesterday, he said, as soon as it's printed, obviously I'm going to send it to you. I want to just end with this punchline though, because it's so sweet. When I was writing this up, Murray said to me, you need to make sure that the language that you use is the kind of language that will, you know, work for elected members and schools and communities and so on. You know, it needs to be proper language. And I'm thinking to myself, well, where this feisty white man tell me about it? Like me don't know how to write. I'm an English teacher. But anyway, me and Murray go and get on good. So I sent him an email, right? And I said to him, kindly, what did you mean by appropriate language? The man sent back a one-word response in block capital letters. Ubuntu. Exactly. Ubuntu. Why do I end with that? I'm going to write a paper on that too so you understand. Darlington is an all-white local authority who have decided to pick the politics out of the policy direction, set up their schools as academies, but undermine the process of being competitive, working against one another, to work in terms of interdependence. When they looked around the world for global systems of collaboration, they came upon Ubuntu, which is an African-centered way of operating in the interests of the collective and of the whole. So when Murray come back to me, little white Murray Rose, and said to me, I need to use the language that his people in Darlington, white working class people, elected members and teachers understand. And when I asked him for clarification, he brought back the African-centeredness thing and licked me in my forehead and said, Ubuntu, and what we need.
Woo!